the continuing troubles of the Ohio State Buckeyes. I mean, this story doesn't surprise me because I feel like Tom Herman is a guy who I got the impression of he likes to party. Uh, but back in 2014, when Tom Herman worked with Urban Meyer's staff and Zach Smith, apparently they went out to a strip club and had a great time.
Good old recruiting trip in Florida, and then they hit the strip club afterwards.
No, of course. I think this is only news to me because it's like the shit has already hit the fan with Urban Meyer, and now people are just digging up as much dirt as they can to try to discredit this guy and discredit the staff. And I kind of sit back and laugh because, like, honestly, they go to a strip club. Granted, Zach Smith is a walking piece of garbage, but they're two adults. They're going to a strip club. What's wrong with that?
Yeah, it's not so much that at this point, and I'm honestly kind of surprised that there hasn't been more of an outcry after just getting 3 games. Hey, you're talking about a school that literally fired a national championship winning coach because his kids went and got tattoos in exchange for their gear. Like, they fired Jim Tressel over that. Like, that was a thing that they did, and it's weird. I don't know. Yeah, like it's.
Well, I think, and Derek and I kind of talked about this last week, and I think this isn't surprising because it's Ohio State governing themselves, and it's no surprise to me that they went easy on Urban Meyer. And I think I agree with you; it's silly, but I think it's mostly because it wasn't an NCAA violation. I think they were not as harsh on him because he wasn't breaking NCAA rules. Now, yeah, you could argue that he was because of Title IX, but you saw the NCAA ruling on Michigan State, which was baffling. Just unbelievable to me. If there wasn't enough an example that the NCAA doesn't care about its student athletes, if they didn't have that once, that's a great example. Are you kidding me? This man assaulted and raped these women, and they say, well, we didn't really find anything else. We didn't really break anything like sanctioning our rules. I'm sorry, but rape isn't one of your sanctioning rules?
Oh, of course not, man. Like, what you think that's a sanctioning rule? Come on. You know better.
I know, but
it's stupid and it's ridiculous, but it doesn't make any sense that, like, that. I mean, you have it right to a T. They're not pushing as hard at it because guess what? He technically didn't break any NCAA violations, which is, in my eyes, absolutely absurd that that's the way they look at it, because you're talking about a dude that beat his wife. Like, whether you want to, let somebody get a reprieve for that or whatever, he still beat his wife. That's not cool. You can't do that. You just, as a moral thing, you can't do that. And if Urban Meyer knew and then hit it, he doesn't deserve to have a job there. Just because he's good at coaching football doesn't mean that you deserve to be there.
Well, that's the difference. If this were anybody else in this situation, I think if this were Nick Saban would still have a job. I think the difference is when you are, I think it's 77-8 at a school in that amount of time, I don't think that makes a difference to them. And I've said this a long time ago. I was going to post this article on loudandopinionated.com, but the story just kept changing. I ended the piece with what I said all the time. I said this about Art Briles and Baylor. I've said this about any situation where sexual assault or domestic violence or any sort of crimes are committed at a university. I always say this: human lives will always be more important than wins in a game. And I get it. There's a lot of money at stake here. It's a $1 billion industry. But for Pete's sake, this guy let this man beat his wife, not just at Ohio State, but at Florida. Like, this has been going on for almost a decade.
And he knew about it while he was at Florida too, because he actually, like, legitimately knew about having to go. Like, he let it be known that he got, hey, I was arrested for this. And then they kept him on staff after, which is just.
And And Urban Meyer paid for counseling for him and his wife.
It's insane that that's what they're doing, but at the same time, I'm not really surprised at all by anything that happens in college football. Next thing you know, you could like learn that fucking Nick Saban's been out there pulling a Paterno and they'll probably still end up having a job. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. Well, I think, and this relating it back to the Tom Herman and Zach Smith stuff, I honestly think at this point, like I said to start the segment, I think people are looking for anything and everything to just keep going after Nick Saban and the staff, because I don't think that, and the public opinion is it's not enough. 3 games is not enough. And I agree with you. I said at the outset he should be fired because that was okay. Say if this were a few months, this were like 3 to 6 months, and he knew that long, I could see a little bit of leeway. But
He
knowing
knew for years.
Knowing for as
Years.
long as he did, that's inexcusable. And the way that he lied about it, and the fact that he comes out and lies straight to the media's face, and then continues his talk about how close him and his wife are. They share everything, and then the woman that gets abused said, "Hey, I texted his wife all the time." I'm sorry, but if my wife is working with someone that's getting domestic abuse, like being abused, she's gonna tell me because that's a big deal.
Yeah.
So it's disgusting, and I put that in the rundown because the more I see that happen, the more I hear about the dirty stuff that organization does. You didn't need to make me hate Ohio State more. You just tacked on, so it's fine. I keep adding to it.
Yeah. I fully agree with you on all of that. Like it's as if anybody needed fuel to the fire to hate Ohio State even more. So rough.